Get to your phone calls coming up. Chris Fowler, busy man, ESPN college football, tennis host, commentator. He'll be on the call Saturday night. It'll be LSU at number 4, Clemson. Herbie will be there, Holly Rowe, Molly McGrath. And then week 2, you got Michigan at number 18, Oklahoma. Also part of the U.S. Open broadcast. ESPN airs all 15 days of the U.S. Open on all of its networks. You got the women's singles final Saturday and the men's singles finals Sunday. That'll be the 7th on ABC and ESPN Deportes. Good to see you, Chris. How are you, bud?
Thanks for the extended promo. Hope that wasn't part of the deal getting me on. But
it was.
You're very generous.
It was. The PR machine at ESPN said, we got 2 plugs for Chris. I go, okay. So
I meant to text you belated congratulations. Your team's triumph on Celebrity Family Feud. I guess we watched it last month, but it was a stirring performance. You guys showed you're very in tune with the people. Very in tune with the people, Dan. So it was good.
We had fun, but it's one of those that you say, yeah, let's do it. And then I got on stage, and all of a sudden Steve Harvey comes out. I've got my Dan name tag, and I go, oh, bleep. What am I doing here? I just kept thinking something's going viral. And when it goes viral, it's usually bad. And thankfully it did not. But there was some trepidation. For the wrong time to have trepidation when you're on stage with Steve Harvey.
I would freeze out there. I think I'd choke if you're going to hit the buzzer and come up with something, some crazy question. You did well, though.
Well, we went through rehearsal. I got yelled at because I screwed up. You're not allowed to have your hand up, and you have to have your hand down. And it was a false start. And then they go, hey, no. And I go, oh, all right. And then you weren't allowed to talk to each other. Somebody's in the audience, and they're saying, hey, no talking. You can't talk. I thought we were going to get, DQ'd.
You guys are running roughshod over the rules there.
We were. Take me back to game day. Now, I'm going to go off memory here. When I was at the mothership, I remember the thought of you guys going out to a football game was met with some great hesitation. Like, is anybody going to show up? Like, why would we do that? It's fine here in studio. They don't need to be out there. Who's going to show up? And I just remember that there were a couple of members of management saying that. And I thought, if you have a camera, people will show up. If there's a camera, people want to be on TV. That was the only thing I said to John Walsh, our boss. I said, if you got cameras, kids will show up.
We had 3 of them. I think we actually had 3 of them that day. No, well, they had to spend some money. I think it was the grand total of something like $50,000 to take the show on the road, which is that's about a segment's worth of today's cost. No, we had to convince folks. We'd done it at bowl games, but never on a campus. Finally had Florida State, Notre Dame, 1-2 in November in 1993, and it was a game worthy, they thought, of getting us out on the road. And we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to mic it. We were pretty clueless. It was indoors at the Hall of Fame. And people were kind of wandering by. Let me check out the Heismans. Wait a minute, what's going on over there? And they didn't know exactly what we were doing, but it was evident, like from that very first show, Dan, that hey, you're right. There's cameras, there's people. We're on the campus, and we're on to something. And next year we went on the road more and more, and after that, every week.
When did you know that all of a sudden this is clicking with America?
On game day, on the road shows?
Yeah.
There were signs the first time. Lee Corso came out of the pep rally at Notre Dame on Friday night, and he had picked Florida State all week, the alma mater, and they were the favorite. And he said, can I change my pick? We had just seen Storiano Regis or somebody was in there doing their thing. and Lee saw so much spirit at Notre Dame that he immediately wanted to change his pick, which was funny. It was Craig James was there, the pony was doing his thing. And Lou Holtz, they won the game, and he made a beeline for our set, which was just down the hall from his office, and just jumped up on the set. Corso jumped up, tried to give him his microphone. Like I said, it was pretty raw back then, but we knew we had something. And then, year after year, we began to draw bigger crowds, and campuses wanted to outdo the other one and break the record. And it was wild. It was fun from the morning. The post-game shows were a blast. We'd just be sitting outside the stadium, and the students would spill out and run to the set. Those were the days when it was simpler, shorter, smaller, but also very raw.
your first memory or first thing that comes to mind with Lee Corso back in the embryonic stages of College Game Day?
I was thinking the other day, I was doing a show with Lee. Wisconsin had blown a game. Something had happened late in the game, coach's decision. And I'm the only one on the desk with Lee at that year. And he says, Barry Alvarez, the coach at the time, should walk into the locker room, stand in front of his team, and resign immediately. He should quit. I mean, it occurs to me, I'm the only one here. Like this, I have to say something about that. There's no, Craig James wasn't on the show, that Bino wasn't there. No one was there but me. You have to say something like, Lee, you're not serious. Nothing I say is serious. So he was kidding, but wow. I had to be the only one there to check him, Dan. Now there's about 7 guys on game day to check him. But he, in the early days, he would say stuff well before he became like the lovable grandpa figure that everybody smiles when they see. He would say stuff that would piss off players, coaches, fans. That he was a polarizing guy, and that helped spark things, helped get eyeballs and interest on the show. And he and Craig would go at it, and then later Kurt came on, and they would go at it, and that was the early years of Game Day. It was kind of, he was like a hot take guy before that existed, right? But he did it, with taste.
And then the headgear.
Yes.
What?
And, that's instant. I mean, when the minute he puts on, Brutus Buckeye head is sort of this, it's a nut. And I think back in the day, it was, I don't know if it was in mint condition when he got it. It was kind of beat up. But he put this thing on. It was a tense negotiation with Ohio State to get them to give up Brutus's head. The story is part of Game Day mythology, but Kirk Herbstreit's wife, Allison, had been a cheerleader at Ohio State. They said, no, sorry, but no. Later in the week, are you sure? Can we be pushed? And they said, okay, fine, we'll do it. And we'll see how this goes. And the minute he puts it on, I mean, it's silly looking, but you knew, oh, wow, suit, tie, Brutus head, and we're on to something. And then every other school saw the magic of that. And then most of them were willing to cooperate. Now they all cooperate, of course. But it was instant. We knew we were onto something.
Best celebrity picker that you had?
Ooh, that's tough because these celebrities, especially the comedians, wanted to come play with Lee Corso. I mean, that was the reason, I think, why they came on the show. The pick segment at the end, Bill Murray, Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, I mean, some of the funniest people on the planet wanted to come sit and play off of him and have him say, not so fast, my friend. Bill Murray was he was unhinged. He was a Clemson fan. They were playing Florida State. Lee put on the Seminole stuff. We had a little mound of dirt in front of the set so he could throw a spear in the ground like Chief Osceola. Bill Murray basically undid that whole plan. Like, knocked him to the ground, did an atomic knee drop on him. I mean, Lee wasn't young then. Okay, he's 90 now. He wasn't young then. And Bill would grab the spear and he threw it. This had a real like spear tip. This wasn't a prop. He threw the thing like over the heads of these people who were gathered by the set, Home Depot guests, I guess. And it landed on this demo field of it harmlessly, thank God. I mean, somebody could have been impaled. But I just think about that. Alice Cooper, all these characters that you would think would have nothing to do with the sport and certainly wouldn't be in the same frame as Lee Corso. But he's sitting there with these guys. I just have beautiful memories of that.
What about the musket at West Virginia?
What about all the firearms? I mean, in the Big 12, every school has a firearm involved and people think, you guys were soft. You're reacting like it's a cannon in your head. Well, as you know, there's a lot of microphones around the set. All these effects microphones that go into your headset. The headsets are cranked up really loud, so you can block out the noise and you can hear yourself. Back in those days, I think we had headsets before we got earpieces, but the earpieces are airtight too, so you can't hear anything else. When he shot the damn guns, I mean, it was beyond deafening. Like you just couldn't sit there and not flinch or duck or something,
Oh, Chris Fowler joining us, and he's got Saturday night. It'll be number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson, and also the U.S. Open. State of tennis right now.
At the top of the men's game, it's compelling as ever. I mean, you got 2 guys that jumped into the immediate aftermath of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. in Colorado South Horizon Yannick Sinner, and they've got this rivalry already. They're pushing each other. We're seeing tennis we've maybe never seen played before, and that's saying something, given the fact that those three giants elevated the game so much. So I think the men's game at the top is compelling. Got to have some guys join them. Got to have some guys show they can compete with these two, so it's not predictable every final. I mean, most people would expect those guys are going to play again in New York, as they did at Wimbledon and Paris. But you want other guys to compete and join the party. Women's tennis is wide open. It's the opposite. There is no dominant player at the top. It's a free-for-all. A different player wins every major, it seems. All eyes on Coco Gauff here in New York. But it's if you like unpredictability, and I think some of these major finals have been the least predictable events in sports. Picking 100 to 1 shots, 80 to 1 shots, winning Wimbledon on the women's side every year. It's crazy.
If I said you could change one thing in college football, what would it be?
I wouldn't turn back the clock. I know we talked about NIL and portal. I'm not one of those guys that sits around whining about the modern realities. I'm uncomfortable with certain parts of it. Players they finish the season, or they don't even finish the season. Their team's in a bowl game. They're looking for the next spot. They go play spring ball somewhere. They don't like that. They transfer again in the summer, and they're at another campus, probably taking another bag of money from another school in the fall. That I don't like. I mean, you can't have the chaos of unrestricted free agency with multiple windows during the year when you can do it. There needs to be some order. I'd like to see that cleaned up, but this isn't going away. And I think it's kind of fun. And you get into a new season. Some of these teams, Belichick's got like 70 new guys in North Carolina. They have a completely new team. I mean, that's kind of interesting to see how they're going to gel. So I try not to whine about the unintended consequences of reform, which is what we're dealing with. I think there's going to be some order restored. I like the new playoff format. I don't want to see it expand. So I'm kind of good with where we are right now.
You got North Carolina with a standalone game on Monday night with Belichick. But I think we could tune in and watch Deion at your alma mater because he had his son there and he had Travis Hunter. And Deion's good TV. Bill Belichick's not good TV. Like we
you don't think so?
No.
His press conferences for good TV.
But it's weird. I would tune into Colorado and I knew I would see his son and I would see Travis and I'd see Deion. And the atmosphere and, just felt like Deion was an entertainer. Bill's not an entertainer. Now it comes down to, is his team any good? You're not, like, I'll tune in to go, okay, does he have a cutoff Carolina blue hoodie on? Okay, he does. All right, now let me see if, he can coach college football.
But don't you think when he's at the Patriots, I mean, people would watch them because they wanted to see them lose. It didn't happen that often. But I think people will want to see how his team looks. And I think some people want him to succeed and some people want him to fail. And so there's a compelling tune-in reason, at least early in the season. They're expecting big ratings for that Labor Day night game, TCU and Carolina. There are a lot of curiosity watchers. I think that, look, no one knows how that team's going to gel. I think they should be well coached, but in the ACC, it's pretty balanced. Games come down to the finish. Can Belichick make a difference on Saturdays? Can he make a difference with adjustments? Can they win close games? If they can, they can be in the mix in the conference. They're not going to be the most talented team. That's Clemson and then Miami. But, I'm interested to see how they do overall, not just Monday night.
But you think people tune in to see him fail. Were they tuning in to see Deion in a similar situation of failing or succeeding?
Some were. I mean, I think he captured the imagination of a lot of people who weren't necessarily huge college football fans. And that happened right the minute he got to Colorado. I mean, I was at the spring game his first year, 50,000 people in a snowstorm. We're watching a spring scrimmage. So, I mean, they came into town to watch it. These were not all locals. And I think you saw massive TV ratings. Even when Colorado began to lose and the story began to change and shift from, hey, Deion's doing some magic to, hey, it's a reality check. They still watched. I mean, and they still do watch. So, I'm going to be interested to see how they do Friday night. I'll be in Columbus tomorrow night. There's a big Corso luncheon there, which will be a cool event. And then I'll go watch the Buffs that night to see how they look against Georgia Tech. They're underdogs in the first game. Nobody's expecting them to do anything this year. But I think that they got a chip on their shoulder.
But I wonder about that, though. Will the novelty wear off there with Deion there?
It has worn off, I think. I mean, no more Travis Hunter Shador's gone. I think you've got a team of talented players. I mean, they're better than people think. They're not going to be 10th in the Big 12, in my opinion. But I'm always going to be watching, and he's just a compelling figure, Dan. The way he dealt with cancer this summer and was so open and transparent and vulnerable. Not a lot of coaches sit there and talk about having a catheter and having a porta-john on the sidelines because they need it. I mean, it's refreshing. His messaging, his team, if you're around him, is really old school and valuable stuff. I think he's making differences in their lives. So I'm a fan for sure.
Great to talk to you. Safe travels. Have fun. Saturday night, LSU and Clemson, and then part of ESPN's coverage of the U.S. Open. My best to the family as always, Chris. Thank you.
My pleasure, Dan.
Chris Fowler, ESPN college football and tennis host. Oh, man. Chris, been there a long, long time. Long time.